Welcome to Nancy and Nicole, Real Life, Real Talk. Another opportunity for us to talk about the stories we tell ourselves. And Nicole, what story are we unpacking today?
Success. Specifically, the stories we may have told ourselves in the past that have held us back from our success or what the cost of success might look like.
Interesting. I don't know
Yes.
anybody that struggles with stories about success.
I know, which is well, in theory, we shouldn't have any, right? We all want to be successful. You set a goal, we want more, all the things. And then you realize there's a little bit more to that. And one of the biggest stories is what's like you said earlier, you can have time or money, you can't have both.
Yeah.
Right?
I just want to, as is often my framework that I come at all of these conversations from,
Yeah,
which is what were the stories we heard or that we experienced in our families growing up
right.
about success? So I would say, for me personally, with love in my heart towards my father, he chose work and career, which also meant climbing the ladder and being more successful financially.
Mhm,
He chose that over family all day long. I can totally see the through line of what he got from his parents
mhm.
about that and so much judgment about money. So I can see my multi-generational baggage quite clearly before me about where
Yep.
some of my stuff comes from. And I'm curious, is there some moment or story growing up that you're like, that is some of where that came from?
So it's interesting. Yeah. So my dad was military. We grew up.
Don't
So,
forget.
it's one of those, you're just kind of middle class, right? You have your thing. Actually, one of my biggest stories is, we used to, when you're military, they have the exchange on the base. You can go buy clothes. There's all kinds of stuff there. And layaway, they used to have, you could be able to do layaway there. And I'm sure you could do it other places. They don't really do that now. You just put on a credit card and that's basically
Right.
layaway. But my mom used to sneak her clothes. She would buy all her clothes and put them on layaway and then just pay them off a little bit at a time and not tell my dad. And then just something would magically show up. And he's like,
Interesting.
"When did you get that?" "Oh, I've had it for a while," right? Because it was on layaway.
Gaslighting.
I know. So not so much about success, but like you had to hide stuff or it wasn't okay to get new things or you should all of that stuff. And my dad's an engineer. He was military and then he retired and went to work for Boeing. I'm now in sales. I've been in sales my whole life. And so I think there's some success stories there, but also, sales versus work in a corporate America kind of job. And what does that look like? So, yeah, I'm rambling a little bit, but yeah, I think it's about you have to hide your money, right? It's not,
Yeah.
if you get something, you have to hide it from other people.
This was not a story I was going to tell, but it was, again, one of those impactful stories. So prior to my parents' divorce, my dad was a land use lawyer in Bellevue back in the day. He was
Mm,
very successful.
mhm.
He bought a boat at
Mm,
some point in my not my grade school days before he left my mom. And it was like a 24-foot Bayliner cabin cruiser, and so we'd go up to the San Juans for long weekends. And one time we did a trip for like 2 weeks up to Desolation Sound. It was beautiful, super fun. He was so terrified to tell his parents that he had bought that boat that
yeah.
he made us kids lie to our grandparents. Like
No way.
2-week trip to Desolation Sound. We came home, we were talking to our grandparents. He's like, I'm
Really?
gesturing, cutting the neck, or, like, shush.
Get off. Don't say a word.
Like, do not, your grandparents will never know that we have this boat.
Really?
Yeah. Isn't that wild? And
Kidding.
again, I told you, multi-generational lineage here of my
Mm,
stuff around it was my dad bought this nice house for us right before I was going into kindergarten. And his parents said to him, "Oh, well, I assume you must have all the kids' college fund already completely funded if you would spend that much money on a house." I mean, my dad was like, I don't know, in his late 30s maybe when he bought
Oh,
the
yeah.
house.
You don't fund that,
These
but
kids
no.
were little, like nobody was going to college anytime soon. And
So
here he
judgment
was,
around how it's spent. We
and
have a
here
lot of
he was,
I grew up with a lot of judgment.
so here he was, this really successful, building a name for himself. Like he was totally crushing it from a success standpoint, career, accolades, income, and he was lying to his parents about all of it because he had shame.
Yeah. Fascinating.
Yeah. Just maybe has tripped me up a time or two in my life. Ugh.
Little bit.
So, and part of that, what I got from him was that belief that you can't have time and money. You're gonna have to decide.
Mhm.
And I bought that. I totally
Yeah.
believed that. And here I was, young kid, primary breadwinner. I'm gonna have to make some compromises. You and I've talked about this before. There
Yeah.
is a certain developmental phase when you are starting a new business and a new career.
Yeah.
That
At a
you
time.
kind of got to be in the grind mode.
Oh, yeah.
But I do think that if you believe that you have to give up time with your family to be able to support your family, that is what you will perpetuate.
For sure. Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
I don't think that is necessarily true.
I know from experience it's not true, but I also know how easy it is to get sucked into that. It's the prevailing thought process, and I think in our culture, but especially in real estate, the industry we're both in.
Will you
Agents
say a little bit more
pride
about
them.
that? Because I do think our industry has some uniquely twisted
Oh, yeah.
norms about success.
Yeah, and because we are in an industry that literally can run 24/7. And there are a lot of agents that pride themselves on that. They pride, we walk into our meetings, we've talked about this, and there are people in there. How are you? I'm so busy. I'm doing all these things. I've worked for the last 10 days in a row, all the things like this is their badge of honor. And I wish success for everybody. I think that's great, but it doesn't have to look that way. As FOMO, we inherently tend to have poor boundaries as agents because, again, really, if you can answer a phone or send an email, you can sell a house. And so people tend to do that. And we get it's that whole just because you can doesn't mean you should. If you're on your family vacation, do you really need to pull over in the middle of your drive to like sell a house on the side of the road or be at Disneyland texting? I mean, it makes my skin crawl when I see the reels that some people put on Instagram. There was one somebody sent me because they thought it was funny. It made me want to throw up about it was like a husband, like the wife was an agent, and it's the husband taking pictures in their vacations all over the world of basically thanks to my real estate wife for providing all these great vacations. And he and the kids are having a blast, and he's taking a selfie, and she's in the back on her phone, like in Rome, selling a house. This is not success.
That is what, like, I do think for some people, they're like, it's super easy to just hop on the phone, not a big deal. There
Yeah.
was a vacation we took, and I thought I had my business covered. We'd gotten somebody in contract. It was like easy squeezy stuff. All of a sudden, I'm like, okay, you guys, I just got to go hop on the phone for a minute. I think it was around an inspection negotiation thing, but there wasn't really anything to negotiate. So it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, we're just going to send over the form, waive it. We're all
Yeah.
good. I spent a day and a half navigating and being on long phone calls. It was kind of pre Zoom. And my God, I remember my family looking at me and basically shaking their head and saying, never again. I don't care what you have to do. This is not acceptable for a family vacation.
Yes. And I've certainly done it. I have certainly sometimes, like you said, something goes sideways, it comes up. But what I will say is I've never used that as a badge of honor. Of
Yes.
look at me, look how great I am. I can take my family wherever and spend the whole time in the room on a computer
Yeah.
and be able to tell you I sold something and not have my clients. Like I called a girlfriend the other day. She's a real estate agent. And I get a text back like, "Hey, I'm in Europe. What do you need?" And I did the math. That's like 4 o'clock in the morning there. What? Turn your phone off.
But you know what? That happens in little ways, and this is a slight tangent. I was with my daughter yesterday. I was helping her do some stuff. She's moving into a house. And my phone kept ding, 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 dinging. Nothing urgent, time sensitive. It was a text between another broker and I. Did not need to be responded to in that moment. But she's doing whatever it is she's doing, and I'm like, just shooting off a quick text. What's the big deal?
Yeah, yeah.
And she, God love her, she said to me, is that a time sensitive client thing you have
Love
to
it.
be responding to? And I was like, no. And she said, can you just turn your ringer off then?
Yeah. Can you be present? Can you be present right now? Right.
Yeah. So, but I
Yeah.
do think that that dovetails with all of the crazy stuff around smartphones and being available 24/7. And just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Right.
Mm. And I have caught myself when I've been talking about some stupid thing I chose to do around my schedule, and I hear myself saying, I think that sounds more like poor time management, Nancy, than
Yeah.
necessarily some badge of honor. I'm like, oh, I had to stay at the office late last night. Well, yeah, because you didn't get there till
Right.
11 and you could have managed it differently. Some of it, I'll just say, I like staying at the office till 9 o'clock at night, at least one night a week.
Yeah.
Everybody's gone. It's like getting the house to myself. I just get super focused and can be very productive. But that is different than saying I'm burning the candle at both ends with a blowtorch.
Right. And that tends to, from what I understand from our conversations, that tends to be a creative time for you. You are there doing things. You're not there because you have no boundaries and you're just
Yeah.
wandering around.
That is
So,
true. Thank you.
yes,
There are times that
absolutely.
I have no boundaries as well, but
We've all had those moments. I
yeah,
mean, and for me, I always say, and it is at least true for me, the only way I can effectively find my boundaries is I usually have to blow right past them and go, that sucked. Let's try it different next time. I have ruined vacations selling real estate.
yeah,
So, and all of the things. So, I have had many moments of poor boundary choices
yeah,
at the cost of this is what I think it needs to, what it needs to be or means to be successful.
yeah. I know a lot of that is very specific and unique to our industry,
Mhm.
but it kind of feels like there is a cultural
For sure.
bias towards struggle.
Yes.
Like you don't deserve going back
Yeah,
to
you have to
and
earn it. You have to earn your stripes, put in the time. What are all the phrases, all the things, right?
that's so messed up, man.
Yes. I totally bought into it when I was first in real estate. I worked all the time. And like you said, there's some lift off time to starting
Sure.
anything, right? Like, even if you're not in your own business and you're in corporate America, I'm pretty sure there's probably like you got to pay some dues, do the things, but
Yeah.
it can look a little different than it does for a lot of people.
Yeah. I remember prior to my working in real estate, I had a brief stint in corporate Amazon around
Oh,
1999, 2000, just to give somebody context of. It was a very different company back then, I'm just saying,
yeah.
but it was also exploding, and I was part of their new hire orientation stuff for corporate. Anyway, but it was in the early days where a business would give you a laptop for
Oh,
so you could work from home. And I remember one night, 11 o'clock at night, I'm trying to catch up on emails. Leah and I were laying in bed. She's reading, and I'm like hitting the emails. And my supervisor responded to the email I sent. And she's like, we're working. So she's asking me questions back. Can you get this to me? And all of a sudden, I'm having this back and forth. And God love my wife. She's looked at me, she's like, no, 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 no. Whoa, hold on.
yeah. We're not doing
We're
this.
not doing this.
Good for her for seeing
I
something.
know. Just because you have the technology and there's a
Yes.
world of boundarylessness around us, regardless of the industry, to be honest,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
does not mean you have to. And, to be honest, I didn't stay at that job for very long either because I was not a good cultural fit for that.
Well, there you
Because I'm more of a night owl and after my family goes to bed, I still want to catch up on some stuff. So I have often let my clients know that you may get an email or whatever from me late at night. Or if you call me, most likely it's going to go to my voicemail because I turn my phone off. But if I'm sitting there, everybody's gone to bed, I might pick up, even
yeah.
though I say my phone gets turned off at 7. Because if I'm sitting there working, yeah. But I do try and set that expectation with people about, like, there's times I'm not available. No, my phone gets turned off at 7. And maybe it ends up being confusing to people that,
Yeah.
and I do know the technology lets me write my email at 11 o'clock at night and send it the next day at 8. I just, and actually, as I'm saying that out loud, I was going to say I'm just lazy about figuring out how to do that and being consistent about it. But I bet it would actually help support my better boundaries in my work if I actually did that.
Yeah. I don't do it so much with email, but the send later function on text messages
Yes.
is
That's a
something that
new
I
thing that is
use
very helpful.
all the time. Either like even now there's something I want to send a text on, we're recording this on a Saturday. I'm like, really, I kind of like it to go on Monday. I don't want to interrupt this person's weekend, but I can to send the text now so that it just goes out and I don't have to like worry, did I remember? Did I forget? Write it down, all the things. And I'm a morning person. I'm the opposite of you. So I might be up at like 6 o'clock in the morning. My mind's spinning up, but I can set all those text messages to land later because A, I want to respect my client's time frame. I don't necessarily want their phone going off at 6 a.m. But I do want them to respect my boundaries. I try to not take those late phone calls because, at least for me, I usually answer them thinking, oh, it's just one quick thing. It'll be a 2-minute phone call. And then 30 minutes later, like they're asking me, I'm like, that was not what I wanted to do at 8.
Yeah.
But now I don't know how to get out of the conversation. So
Yeah.
I try not to do that.
I think that is such a great point, Nicole, about how we set that expectation. We have to get clear for ourselves about uh, our beliefs around success. If you want to believe you have to trade off time for money and you're willing to choose
Rock on.
time, all power to you. But if you want a little bit more balance in your life and some better boundaries, you kind of have to coach people about what that looks like because
Yes.
they may not
And they are
have that,
coachable.
because they may not have that themselves,
No.
or they think realtors are on 24/7. So I'm impulsive. I'm thinking about this now. So I'm just going to call you. Like,
Yeah.
do we have to actually have that conversation now? I mean,
No.
there's so many different things around managing expectation and communication. That could be a whole separate podcast. Sorry. The
Bringing
synapses
it
are
all
going in my
together.
head. Bring it back. Bring it back. So, one of the things that has been super helpful for me in countering that belief that you have to do time versus money was a number of years ago. I had a client who, for a variety of reasons, was struggling, needed to sell a condo, and she was really freaked out about it.
Mm.
And I just knew it was all gonna be fine. I've sold a lot of properties over the years. I know how to do this. Like, just because 'cause you've never done it before and you are assuming all the worst case scenarios and all the horror stories about how something's gonna go. And I just said, "Honey, our mantra going forward is gonna be ease and abundance."
I love that.
I mean, not that I don't wanna talk about the stuff that makes you nervous or has you anxious, because we gotta talk about it. But just know I am holding the space of ease and abundance for this transaction. And it was a condo. Took us a hot minute to sell it, but there really was a fair bit of ease and abundance that went into that. And, there are different seasons of the years and the cyclicalness of my own personal development and being a human being and the market and all the other things where sometimes I embrace ease and abundance a little bit easier than other times.
Hmm.
But I really think that when I am in my groove, like when I'm sort of in my tuning fork aligned, me showing up as my most me, if I can bring that ease and abundance to the success for my clients, it absolutely is the kind of quality I want to bring to success in my own life.
I love that. That's great.
Yeah. If I can just live that every day would be great. You know, but
You got to start with the intention to make
it's
it
the
happen.
intention, and as you and I talk about, I mean, the whole thing about stories is just about the awareness of what they are and when they're tripping you up so that you can pivot and
Tell
shift
something different.
to
Yeah.
something that actually feels true.
Yeah. And it takes courage. It takes awareness within yourself and it takes courage. Like we were talking about, our industry tends to be one that prides itself on how busy we are and how often we work and,
Mm,
all the places you can sell a house. So you have to have the courage to buck the trend
mm,
and do it differently, but know that that's possible.
yeah.
Yeah. You can
And
be successful and not work 24/7. Go ahead.
no, I was just thinking about if you were having a hard time having the bravery and courage to buck the cultural norms about whatever your industry is, but especially for the people in the real estate space, for the love of God, get off of social media.
Yes.
Or
And curate
just
a group of friends that or other agents that wanna do it your way.
yes, I would say that too. But
Yes.
there have been periods of time where I blocked all of my realtor buddies. It was a time when I was kind of in a funk and think I was
Yeah.
not having a lot of ease and abundance. And I was seeing what looked like, because of social media,
Mhm.
people looking like they were crushing it. And the
Yes.
reality is social media, I mean, people are posting their success and their great listing and the closing that maybe closed 6 months ago.
Yeah. There's an agent that I follow that she's not showing up on my feed right now, but she used to post, and she does do a fair amount of business, but I eventually realized she posts the same house minimum 3 times
Interesting.
for a buyer, right? Like under like they liked it, under contract, they got it, we're pending, we're closed. I was like, "Wait a
Same
second,
same
same
transaction.
house, right? And listings,
Yes,
it's on the market, all the things, which good for her. I'm not saying that's wrong. I
totally.
think that's great. That's awesome marketing. You're getting more mileage out of what you're doing.
Absolutely.
But I was sitting here feeling inept, going, oh my God, she's like kicking my butt. And then I realized, wait a second, that house looks a little familiar than the post you did a little while ago. I'm on to you.
Yeah. Well,
So now I just
and
giggle.
I do think if we're talking about the stories that we carry around success, we can't, I mean, it would be a disservice to not talk about the role of comparison.
Oh, yeah. I think that's another episode. The comparison monster. It's
Yeah.
for real.
Yeah. But it reminds me, I told my daughter when she was really little at one point, we were talking about something or other, and I just said to her, I said, "Honey, there will always be people who have more money than us, and there will
Yes.
always be people who have less money than us. And it really is we get to decide at any point in time, are we looking upstream in the world of scarcity and comparison, or in the other direction and looking with gratitude for the opportunities that we have had in our lives." And I get it. There's a lot more that's complicated and layered around the world
All
and
the
justice and things. But I feel that way about real estate as well, that it's really easy to look at other people's businesses. And I think, again, it's sort of inherent in our industry. And in other parts of the country where it's all about ranking and awards. And I think
yeah.
some offices that really do that whole who ranked number one. Like my office does not have that office culture.
We don't do that either.
I'm so grateful for that
Yeah.
because that just can mess with your mind about how you're looking at your own success.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, what if I were to say to you, if I were, not that I am, but if I were,
Hypothetically.
hypothetically, what does success look like for you in your business? Let's focus it a little bit. But
Yeah.
not necessarily real estate, because you have other, you do a wide range of things. What does
Mhm.
success look like for you?
I'm making a difference.
Mm,
I'm working with people that I really genuinely enjoy.
nice.
And we're doing it in a way that it supports them, right? Especially with the real estate, it supports them. They're finding a house or selling a house. People in my coaching, it supports them with whatever they're trying to learn or develop and grow with. It supports me as an individual, meaning it makes me happy.
Yeah.
And it supports my family and my whole lifestyle, meaning I get my time for myself to do my own personal development stuff. I get my time with my family. I get my time to travel. Success means I have it all, really. It's more than just I made this much at the end of the year. Like this is the number I'm using to figure out my taxes. That's part of it. But there's a whole lot more to it.
Nice. I love that.
And how I feel about that number is affected by the other things that I got to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That
How
time
about you?
freedom piece is so huge,
Yeah.
that quality of life.
How about you?
Such a good question. I should have been thinking about what my answer was when I asked you the question. It's so about service. And I feel like if I'm showing up as my authentic self in service to others, trying to help them accomplish whatever that is, whether it's sort of in the coaching, speaking world or real estate, or
Mhm.
just in my life and relationships and all those things, that there is success and the bounty comes back to me. And I realize that I also work in an industry that has the opportunity to make a very good income. And I realize there are a lot of people out in the world who probably have a similar roadmap for what they would define as success in their lives and don't necessarily have the same financial ease that I have had at different times in my career. So I want to be careful that it doesn't equate with a worthiness or, I mean, there's a lot I think that we can get tripped up around how we define success.
I think everybody gets to have their own, like my definition of success. There might be people that look at me and go, that's not success at all.
Yeah,
I don't care. I feel successful. It meets my definition.
absolutely. I just love the idea of being able to really own what we want that to look like. in an industry and in a world that has so much noise and baggage that wants to define that for us, that wants to pigeonhole that it looks, and let's face it, a lot of the world equates success with a certain level of materialism.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
think that's the shorthand surface version of
Mm.
that. And, they're all the books and great thinkers of the world who have talked to some of the most financially wealthy people in the world. They're not the happiest, oftentimes.
But I'm gonna challenge that because there are wealthy people out there that are super happy.
Absolutely. But I don't,
So I think that's funny though that that's something that usually comes up. We're like, "Oh, well, we don't need to be that successful because the wealthy people, they're not that happy anyway."
no, I think it's that you have to build that happiness into it.
For sure. One does not automatically bring the other.
Yeah. It gives you choice for
Yeah,
sure,
yeah,
defining it.
but you still have to make the choice.
Right. And isn't it funny that all of a sudden then it's easy to go into success being very equated with what's your income?
Yeah, but it's a much bigger question. It's a much bigger picture.
Totally bigger question.
I love it.
Yeah.
So what do you wanna leave people with today after today's episode?
I would encourage people to do just a little bit of an archaeological dig about where did they get lessons about success, either from their parents or grandparents or whatever in their life, and how does that either serve or undermine the life they want to live?
Yeah,
That's
I
what I
think
would
that
want somebody to take away. How about you?
I would say the same, and then to broaden your definition of success.
Mm,
If you're focused on the number, an income number, it's part of it. I'm not saying it's not. It's definitely part of it.
sure.
There's a lot more to that. That definition could and should be a lot broader and richer than just an income number. So play with that.
I actually want to circle back to something you said earlier because I actually wrote it down because I thought it was so good. I know I don't take notes a lot, but you said that you have to be willing to buck the trend and do it differently from
Hmm.
the cultural norm, whether it's industry specific or the world. I do think that there is a level of bravery in stepping out and going, I'm gonna blaze my own trail about what success looks like and what it
Hmm.
means to me. And then I would invite you find other people who also see the world that way and you can support each other.
Build your tribe. Definitely.
Yeah. And if you feel like you don't know who those people are, you got two people right here who really would love supporting others and showing up in the world they want to.
Thank you for being
Thanks
here.
for a great conversation, Nicole. Thanks everybody for joining us. And as always, like, subscribe, share, comment, reach out to us if you want to have more conversation about this stuff.
Absolutely.
All right. See you on the flip side.